I'm Mauri Goins.
And I'm Dina Blair.
We're single moms,
Living life for the first time, just like our kids.
real talk from the carpool to the crib.
A podcast about single motherhood,
Black womanhood,
and everything in between.
and maybe we can make your way in the pickup line a little more bearable.
Welcome to the pickup line. This is our back to school edition.
Back to school, D. Are you bummed? Are you ready for bubbles? It all depends on that first day.
Mm-hmm.
With school starting, it's a new school year. We wanted to get with moms, single dads, single people, whatever, on the back to school. The buses are going. Kids need to be dropped off. Laundry needs to be done. So what do you suggest people do to de-stress for this first day of school? This first week of school that's coming up, and you've had your kids all summer.
I mean, everybody is stressed out in their own way. I know moms who are super prepared. Like they have Excel spreadsheets of like who's getting what and how much things cost. Like, I mean, that's aspiration. Like I'm definitely not one of those moms. I'm like, we're doing what, when? Like that's for me. But I think it doesn't matter like what type of parent you are. Like you have some level of stress. It doesn't matter. Like the moms I know that have the Excel spreadsheet and everything planned out, they're still stressed. Like, did I get everything on the sheet? And then, I don't know, I think the moms who are just kind of like go with the flow and take things as they come. And on some level, I feel that's like more.
So for me, like, which mom are you? Are you, it's the first day of school. I'm just going to spend the whole day by myself. I'm going to exercise, relax, unwind. I might just be lazy and lay on the couch all day. Are you going to just say to your friends, hey, I haven't had a chance to catch up with you. Let's go out for a glass of bubbles. I said a bottle, but I meant a glass
You
of
meant
bubbles.
You meant a bottle.
So what were you like on the first day of school? Because I know your kids are still in school and my kids are in college.
Yep, they're freshman and senior at this point. So for years, I have said that I'm going to take the first day of school off from work. And that would be great, but that's not an option, you know? So as much as I would love to be able to be like, I'm going to drop them off at school, I'm going to go home and get the house in order and put all the things away and clean out the closets. And that's all the stuff I would love to be able to do. But because, you know, I work full time and I'm a single mom, so that's not reality for me.
Right. So I guess for me, when I dropped my kids off on the first day, it was always hit the park, do my walk regardless. I probably would meet up with some friends to catch up, just to talk about things we hadn't talked about. Not that we didn't have all summer to talk about it, but with summer, the kids are more so with you. So it's a little more difficult to do some of those things. And I'm not even going to lie. I might just like get back into bed and watch General Hospital.
I love General Hospital.
I love General Hospital. I mean, just might get back in the bed and just breathe.
Yeah.
And let it be just me and the dog. So did you put your kids on the bus or were you? No. Have you ever had your kids on the bus?
My oldest took the bus a couple of times, but the bus isn't for us.
Why?
It's just easier to drop them off at school because the bus, we have to get her to the bus stop, and the bus stop was like 7 something in the morning, as opposed to us just like me just taking them to school is just easier than taking her to the bus.
Right.
And then she did have an experience on the bus, and I warned her, but she wanted to take the bus. It was like the day before break or right before summer break, and I was like, you don't want to be on the bus the day before summer break. I'm telling you, you don't. And she took the bus, and she was like, Mom, you were right. Like they were throwing stuff on the bus. I got hit with a strawberry. Like everybody was crazy on the bus. So, yeah. So we don't do the bus.
I think my kids wanted to ride the bus, but that was an option when they were going to school further away. But we had to pay extra for the bus because at private school, the bus is not free. Like it's not like you can't, you know. So I got to the point where when they were so in such different age groups, I would put them on the bus. Like D, poor thing, his bus came at 5:30 in the morning. So finally I was like, yeah, okay, come on, Mariah. I'm going to wrap you up and we're going to take him to school. Because 5:30 in the morning is ridiculous for any kid to get dropped off at a Chick-fil-A to catch the bus.
Definitely.
Because in private schools, the bus meet you at certain places. And then you put the kids on the bus. For Mariah and Gracie, there was a short period of time where they rode the bus together just because it was more conducive. Because I had it pick up the kids right around the corner from us at the Kroger lot. So you
Right.
couldn't beat that, even though we still had to pay for it. But it was easier for me at the time because we passed a private school that they went to get to a private school they were going to.
Yeah.
So that worked out better for me. What about carpool? Is carpool ever an option for you? What do you say to all the moms that carpool with other moms? Are you willing to do that? Or you just think, yeah, no?
I mean, it's just, my schedule just doesn't allow for carpooling to be a thing for us. It's just like, if I were to be able to reciprocate carpool, it's very rare that I can like pick someone else's child up and take them someplace. And, you know, it just wasn't really an option. Now, sometimes when we're talking about sports, like when we do like soccer practice, I've definitely done carpool where I pick up another child and take them to
Have you ever been
done
worried
that.
about like the conversations or whatever that goes on in the car? If someone else is driving your kid, if someone else is carpooling your kids, you can't control the atmosphere of what's happening in that car.
Yeah. So first off, you know, I had to come to terms with this because I've been like a very like in it parent, like kind of like controlling, I guess would be a word for it. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not always going to be around them and that they have to learn to be able to navigate certain situations and be able to filter out like what's for them and what's not. They're going to meet all different types of people.
Right.
And so my girls really haven't had carpool with people that I don't actually know. Like I don't know their parents.
I let Mariah do carpool with a group of friends of mine. And that's when she learned about Santa Claus. Unfortunately, one of the moms was like, girl, Santa Claus ain't real. And I'm like, what? That devastated me because I love Christmas and I love Santa Claus and I love kids keeping their innocence about things like that. And but she didn't tell me then. She told me later that that's when she realized that Santa Claus wasn't real when she was in carpool.
So you didn't know that she found out that Santa Claus wasn't real until way later. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a conversation.
I was going to say, had you found out?
That would have been a conversation. I would have been like, girl, that is for me to tell. Right? That's like talking about the tooth fairy, right? You want every kid to be excited that the tooth fairy's coming. Like, right? That's part of childhood. And because to me, in my house, it's still Santa Claus. I mean, I don't care if somebody told her that he wasn't real or not. There's still Santa Claus. And there's Santa Clauses all around my house when it's Christmas time. And we're celebrating just like it is Santa Claus. And they're grown. Like, right? I mean, they can call it theirself, right? Like, so whatever. So I guess the biggest question that we're going to ask all these moms out here, are you bummed or are you drinking bubbles? So what were you really on the first day of school? Were you excited they were going back? Were you bummed out a little bit? Were you?
No, I wasn't bummed that they're going back to school. I mean, the part that's just kind of like, I think for a parent is, man, my kids are like, my oldest is a senior. My youngest is a freshman. Like that part is just a lot to take in because I see them growing and, you know, just she's going to be in college next year.
When D was little and it was his first day of school, I can't lie. I did have a little bit of anxiety because I was like,
yeah,
oh my God, my son's going to school. Like, this is weird, right? And when he was little, I used to teach him I would say, D, say I'm intelligent, and spell it for me, right? And that changed with each kid. Like, it was a different experience with the kids going to school. And when they went to school, then after school, there's clubs, there's drama. Like for a while, Gracie and Mariah both were in plays, which is hilarious, right? They used to come home and they were like, I didn't get the role. Like, what are you? I'm a horsey. Like, and I was just like, oh, honey, that's great. Right. It's like, we thought they were all going to be like Academy Award winning actresses or whatever, which Mariah's doing pretty well right now herself. Yeah. But, so then I kind of miss them throughout the day because it was gone all day, sports, after school, come home, do homework. Then it was time to go to bed again. And I was excited to get the break. But then when the school year came close to an end, I was kind of like, dang, they're never home. And the older they get, the less they are at home. Because when the girls were playing volleyball, Gracie would be at practice till 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, dang, that kind of bummed me out a little bit. Like, right? I was still happy to have the time for myself. But as a working mom, how was that for you when you had 8 hours of work? You were still going.
So I've had to learn to be super intentional with the time that I spend with the girls. And I'm not the same parent today that I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I've definitely evolved as a parent. And that's I think one of the beautiful things about being a parent is it can help you become a better person.
Correct.
And I feel like I've become a better person because I'm a mom.
Well, I just seen a study on that parents aren't the same with each child. What do you think you did different when your second went to school than you did when your first went to school? Were you a little more at ease? Were you a little more comfortable? What was different?
I've just learned they're so different. They're two different individuals. So I've learned and I'm learning to adapt to who they are. So just they're both very independent, but it's different. So I have had to just step back and see where they need me without stifling their independence.
So did you feel the same having them both go to school? Like, so when when Dee went to school, I was just like, oh my God, he's going to school. And I wanted him immaculate, neat, clothes ironed, like tidy.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that was a representation, you know how I am, of home. When Mariah went to school, it was a little easier for me because I had already went through it with Dee.
Yeah.
So for a first time mom, when they're sending their kid off to school for the first time, I can remember Khloe Kardashian said, I was just wanting to go to school with her. I wanted to be outside waiting on her. Like, right. I just was like, her everything was leaving her for the first time to go to school. And for me, the easiest was, not to be funny or anything, but with Gracie, I was more comfortable. Because I was like, I've been through this 3 times now, right? We got it. Like, we got it. I was a little more lenient on the homework, but I was a little more comfortable with the act of her being gone away from me for 8 hours a day.
Yeah. The most difficult time for me was after I had Kendall, my first, and I went back to work. And I remember driving in the car and being in tears that I was leaving her. It'll probably make me like cry right now. So that was probably the most difficult time. And then when she went to preschool, I just made sure they went to school close to where I worked. So if I needed to get to them, I could. It was just like an easy car ride, like 2 minutes to get to where they were. And definitely can relate. I wanted to be, even now in high school, I'm like, I kind of want to like be in high school and like see what's happening and like who they're talking to and how they're just going through the day. Not because I don't think they can manage it, but just because I just want to be a part of their life as much as I can until they leave for school.
In high school now, each year of high school was different for my kids. Dee went to school, high school. We didn't have texting.
Right.
So I had to just trust that he was going to be where he said he was. I hired a kid that went to school with him to help him get to school early because he would have early morning 5:30 or 6. I don't know if they call it 6 a.m., whatever, practice for basketball. So I hired a kid to take him to school so he could get there on time in the morning. And it wasn't as much social media for Dee. So he was still under pressure, but he wasn't under the pressures that kids are now. And that's why I was always kind of excited that my kids wore a uniform because everybody was dressed alike.
Right. Nobody
had to worry about feeling bad about what they had on or feeling bad about what they had or what they didn't have. So the kids could go to school and everybody was dressed alike. You know, and when he was in middle school and even his high school, they made them wear the same shoes or the same type of shoes.
Yep.
When Mariah and Gracie got into school and they were going into high school and middle school, their school was a little more lenient on the shoe policy. And they'd never been in public school, so they never had to get up and worry about what to wear. How do you feel about the uniforms and stuff?
Well, my girls went to private school until high school, and they both decided they wanted to go to public school. And the requirement was they had to get into a particular program in order to go to a public school, which they both did. And they love being able to wear whatever they want to wear.
Yeah.
But I think that's because they spent all this time in private school. And I do think having uniforms does take a level of like stress off of the parent and maybe even the child, like them not even worrying about it. Financially, it's not any better because the uniforms are expensive. the uniforms, the shoes, all the things. But I love that my girls can actually express themselves in the way that in what they wear. They can pick out their own clothes, and it's kind of cool to see that. Now we've had like some debates because my youngest sent me some shoes the other day she wants to buy, and I was like, where are you going in these shoes? They're super high, and that's a no.
Oh, a high heel shoe? For high school?
Oh,
she's bringing it. Yeah, she's bringing it. My kids weren't like that. They were like, yeah.
she's so into like both of them, like into like fashion and expressing themselves that way, which I've encouraged that, right? Like my friends told me when they were younger, like you just let them wear whatever they want. And I'm like, I do.
Well, more so, Dee and Gracie were like, yeah, as long as my shoes are comfortable. Mariah was like, yeah, no, I need some fresh jimmies. I have got to have the style. We would always laugh at Dee and be like, you gonna change your shoes?
Right.
Have a closet full of shoes. And I used to say all the time, Gracie was like Michael Jackson. I don't care where she was, we would know her by her shoes, because Gracie does not care about breaking in a new pair of shoes. She would have 500 pairs of shoes in her closet. She's going to wear the most comfortable pair of shoes for her.
She's practical.
Regardless of what they look like.
She's practical.
She's very practical, and I'm very like, you gonna wash those? Like, you can clean those up? Because for us, for some of us, we don't want our kids to have on dirty tennis shoes.
Well, no,
right?
Definitely not.
That was like a thing. For me, it's like I laugh because I'm thinking when I was in high school, if I had the means my kids had, I would be like me. I'd have on a fresh pair of jimmies every day with the shoestrings to match the stripe. Like that's how we did in high school. My Nike shoestrings match my stripe.
Right. I think it's different now though. I think kids now, they are not as, I don't know, I feel like they're not as wrapped up in that as we were growing up. Because I remember when my oldest was going to high school, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, we got to figure out, like, what is your style going to be? Because you've been in private school all this time. You've been wearing uniforms. Like, let's figure out a style. And she got to school and she was like, Mom, everybody just wears like hoodies and like jeans. Like nobody's like trying to like impress anyone or dress up. Or
shout out to the hoodie, right?
Right.
Okay. So I just want to inform everybody, none of my kids go to Harvard. So don't go looking them up, trying to figure out who they are. And if they went to Harvard, if we going to tell a tale, we're not. My daughter spoke on a panel at Harvard.
Yes.
And she and I both bought a sweatshirt. I mean,
of course,
it's Harvard. And what an accomplishment, right? I was just like so proud. So I'm wearing the shirt for the back to school edition of the pickup line for that. Like for that reason.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about when your kids get older, because you're experiencing no kids in the house now because you took your youngest to college. So how is that different?
Right now it's just me and Big Lou and
the dog,
the German Shepherd. It's different with each kid. I can remember the very first day I took Dee to the airport to go to school. He played basketball. He went to school in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I had a really good friend that spent the night with me because she wanted to see Dee off as well. So we had him all packed up and he was ready. He had to be there for the summer. Dee drove a little black car at the time. I was driving. No, he was driving. I was sitting on the passenger seat and my friend was in the back seat. We turned the corner on 85 and it just hit me that my son, who was like with me my whole life, because I was 22 having Dee, he graduated from college with me in my belly, was leaving me. And he wasn't just leaving me, he was leaving me to go to another state.
Yeah.
And I was trusting people I don't even know with my kid. Mariah was at home young. So it wasn't like I could pick up and just go see Dee anytime. We got a babysitter to help me so that I could go to some of his games and she would travel with me to the games. But reality hit me hard on that turn. I cried like a baby to the point, where you and he was like, Mom, are you okay? Like, breathe. I could not breathe.
No.
I could not breathe. I cried all the way to Hartsfield Jackson and I cried all the way home. And I will say to every mother's that's sending their kids away, and they can probably see this, my phone hasn't been off since that day.
Right.
My phone has not been off. They tell you it's not good to sleep near your phone. I'm sleeping near my phone. Because if the phone rang at 3:00 in the morning, I was like, hey, Dee, Is everything okay? I'm dead asleep. I woke up like I was just like up all day. Like, right. Hey, son, are you okay? That, it was just, I was sick. I had just a in my stomach. When Mariah was dead set on going to the West Coast. She's like, oh yeah, I'm out. I'm going. I'm leaving.
That, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, she's leaving. I remember the day when Mariah called me. I was at a volleyball tournament with Gracie in Orlando, and she was getting her college acceptance letters. She was like, Mom, I got into this school. Mom, I got into this school. Mom, I got into this school. And then when she gave me the call that she got into Georgia, I can say that because everybody knows she's a dog. I was like, She's like, I'm like, she didn't want to go to Georgia. She only applied because a really good friend of mine, Jay, was like, Mariah, go ahead and apply. Go ahead and apply. She's like, yeah, I'm going to California. I'm not staying here, right? And I laughed. And I was like, okay. When she called me, she was like, I got into Georgia. I go, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. So she sent me the paper, right? So then after that call, she'd gotten into almost every school that she applied to. And I was just sitting there, and I remember my son saying, okay, let's have a realistic conversation about this, Mom. Because I'm like, I'm going to let her choose. I told her dad, I'm like, we're going to let Mariah decide where she wants to go to school, because if we pick her school for us, she'll never forgive us. So he was like, okay, yeah, all right, okay. All right, Raya. His whole thought was, no, she's going to Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. Like, right, she's going to Georgia. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many reasons that she should go to Georgia.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be more like, let her decide. It's her future. Let her decide where she's going to go to college. If I force her to go to this college, she might resent me forever for that. My son called me and he goes, Mom, let's have a conversation. We know Mariah wants to get into sports. So let's talk about this. Wave radio, bulldog radio. It was over.
Right.
She and I hopped in the car. We didn't have a formal tour or anything. And we got to UGA and we just walked around. I remember we had lunch. Gracie went with us. We had lunch. She took pictures in front of the sign and she looked at me and she goes, I'm going to Georgia. I was like,
that's a great example of kind of just like steering your child, like nudging. We talked about this earlier, not just you and I, not on camera, but nudging them and not actually pushing them in a direction, but just nudging them in a way where they still are making a decision kind of on their own. But there are things that we've experienced that they haven't experienced that we know. Like I know plenty of parents that wish they would have done a little bit more nudging with their kids when it came to choosing a college.
Yeah, because eventually they may leave and go to another college. And then that's just going to prolong the graduation date, right? Yeah. And then for Gracie has always been a high-level athlete. She's always played, always traveled, always been gone. So when Gracie left me to go to school, I still get sad. Like, I'm sad, but I still don't turn off my phone. I don't turn off my phone with Mariah in the same city. And I'm still very much like, wow, I'm in here by myself until I'm not. Because my favorite part about all of that is when they all come home.
Right.
When they all come home and they're all back in the house and it's all filled with joy. And I have so many friends right now, like one of my whole friend groups, my neighborhood friend group, all our kids are going to college. And it's like, who's going to let the dog out? Like, is anybody home? Like, generally everybody has the code to my garage, right? Everybody can get in to let the dogs out, and it's not happening anymore. So then I want to go ask one of my other neighbors, her kids are in high school, but they're in activities. So they're not getting home till 6 or 7 o'clock at night, right? So they can't let the dog out. So it's very, very difficult to let go. And college is a different type of let go because there's the don't ever drink and drive. There's the be careful what friends you hang out with. There's the make sure you lock your dorm door. There's the high percentage of rape on college campuses. So you're extra protecting your daughter. You're like, here's some pepper spray. So it's all those things. When I was worried about them in high school, I used to say their high school was all glass. So if a shooter came through there, they wasn't shooting nothing but bulletproof glass, right? So there's different things parents have to worry about now in high school that are just as much of a worry as it is in college. Younger kids are drinking younger. Kids are going to high school football games, drinking. People get a hold of guns. I mean, sending your kid to school is entrusting your child with that school system. The food that they eat, what they hear during the school day, it is a bum or a bubbles, right? Like you're happy, but then again, you're sad.
Well, I definitely think that first off, this last year with my oldest being a senior has been really eye-opening because I'm super intentional. I'm trying to be super intentional with like the time that I spend with her, what she's learning, giving her the skills to be able to go off because she wants to leave and, go to college up in the Northeast. So in Massachusetts. So just making sure she has the skills to be able to live life this far away from home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And having children is literally, you've heard the saying, like your heart is walking around on the outside of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you can really do about it.
Because kids in high school can get a hold of anything kids in college can.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's trickling down to middle school. Right? I mean, you've got a bunch of middle school girls that are walking into middle school like mini-me's. They shopping at Sephora. They're wearing Lululemon. They're in their tight leggings. They're doing facial routines. This is starting in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're a parent who doesn't allow that or who doesn't want that in their house, you're now getting exposed to that with that first day of school. Because somebody's going to come in there the first day of school talking about what their regimen is or what they do or how they do it. Right? And for me, I loved when my kids switched schools, left one school, went to the other school. They were like so happy because they were like, these kids aren't into makeup and all that. They just coming to school.
Right.
Right. We're just coming to school, like just being kids.
Mm-hmm.
And some parents can't control that because they can't control the district or the schools that their kids have to attend.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to pick and choose. If you're going to public school, you have to go in your district.
Yep.
So when you said your kids had to be in certain programs, let's talk about the stress of a high school kid with AP courses, with drama, with extracurricular activities. Is it more important for the child to be a good person, or is it more important for the child to be the smartest person in the room? Like, where do you draw the line when it comes to stress? Like, for us, all my kids, I think, are pretty intelligent. I didn't force my kids to take AP courses because I think Mariah took one and then dropped another one. And she was just like, Mom, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I was friends with 2 high school counselors that were like, just tell her to drop it. How do you feel about the stress of kids in high school and these AP courses and trying so hard to get into universities that are so difficult to get into now?
Yeah, it's crazy, like the level of competition now to get into college and the things they're requiring. Like, it's not just about your grades, it's about your extracurriculars and like involvement. And I definitely think my daughters feel the pressure of wanting to be like one of the top kids, and the program that they're in is extremely academically rigorous.
Okay.
So
which is awesome.
It definitely requires
congratulations.
Well,
that's good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like being able to teach them the balance of like time management, like when you get your things done, because one of them, she's a stage manager, so she's involved in theater, and she started a baking club, and then she's in the IB program, and then my youngest is an athlete, and she's also in the same program. She hasn't signed up for any clubs yet because she just started school, which I'm sure she will. So it's a great lesson in time management, I think, for them. And then also being able to choose, like you did with Mariah, like, okay, does it make sense for you to be in this class? Like, what are we hoping to accomplish out of this? Do we need to take the AP exam, or can we just like push the AP exam off and not take the AP exam? And those are the conversations I had with my oldest daughter last year, because she was a junior at the time, which is when the program she's in gets super, super challenging.
Right.
And that's where it all matters, but this really matters when she's a junior. And there were some classes where she was in AP classes and she chose not to take the AP exam. She was like, I'm not going to take the AP exam. I need to focus on studying for
And there are a
this
lot
and
of
that.
parents that stress all the AP courses with their kids. I've seen parents that are like, you need to take AP this, AP that, AP that if you're going to get into this college. But then by the time the child gets into college, they're burnt out.
Well, I think some of the AP classes, to my understanding, it can help with expenses, right? So if it transfers over to the school, then you're no longer paying for that class. So say English, for example. So if they take AP English and they get a certain score, and if the school accepts that score, then now they don't have to pay for that, right? So maybe they would, that they finished the requirements for that particular course. So in that aspect, it's great because now you're not having to pay for that particular course in college,
right? Which is dual
so
enrollment.
That part makes sense.
Which is dual enrollment
right?
Here. A lot of athletes that Gracie trained with, our school didn't allow it. A lot of the athletes did dual enrollment. They took a college course class, so when they got to college, they were in a higher level, and they also went to college so they could train earlier. So they could go to school, they would train earlier.
Yeah.
What about homework? Do you do homework with the kids? Like I remember everybody sat at the copper top table and did their homework.
Yeah.
I can't even lie. Gracie was a little different because Gracie went straight from school, straight to practice, stayed off a little bit, went to another practice, came home, and then did homework. So we did what's called academic support with Gracie and Mariah, which is kind of like a basic online tutoring in school. So we had somebody that helped them with their homework while they were in school. They didn't get to take electives, but they did do academic support, which helped them. So if you're I didn't work while they were in school. I would do make my jewelry or do things like that. Were you still able with your full-time job to sit down and do homework with the girls and study for tests with the girls? Because you're going from work to work again.
Yes.
Because being a mom is still work, right?
Yeah. So thankfully, I don't always have to really help when it comes to homework because they're pretty self-sufficient. But I will get phone calls at work, about when they get home from school, like, hey, what is this? And what should I do about that? Or, and so we handle that. But certainly just the other night, well, it was Friday night, I stayed home because Kendall wanted help with one of her classes and it's in my area. So I stay and help. And if they ask for my help, especially, I want to be there because it just goes by so fast.
It does.
It goes by so quickly. And so if there's a time where they're like, hey, Mom, can you help with this? Then I definitely want to be able to do that.
When Gracie became a senior in high school, we chose a different team for her for a bunch of reasons. One is she was never at home for Thanksgiving. She was never able to do electives in high school. She was never able to go to the prom. She was never able to do, she had one of her volleyball teammates go to prom with her because she wasn't able to go to her prom because the schedule was so rigorous with the sports and everything that came with it. So it wasn't just the pressure of school. It's the pressure of school. It's the pressure of sports. And one of the things that I was grateful with their school is they had a decent lunch. Right? So I know how you are with nutrition and your kids and the school lunches and the snacks.
So lunches at the school that your kids went to, those are great lunches.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm thinking if it's a mom and she's busy and she needs to rush, we could do a whole new show on this. What are some snack ideas you have for younger kids, like elementary kids or middle school kids? What would you recommend that they take to school for a snack that's healthy?
Well, first off, my kids make their own lunch. Probably at least since they were in 6th grade.
Okay.
So that I set the parameters around it and then they would make their lunch.
So if we did a pickup line snack schedule for kids in elementary school, what would Dina recommend for a healthy snack for kids in elementary school?
So what I did with my girls when they were elementary school, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, they would do, because you couldn't bring peanuts, so nothing with a nut because of the nut allergies. So we would do those drinkable yogurts, they like those. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, they love
I don't want that.
Yogurt.
Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead. No, that's just me. I would be
you like them?
Mom, I don't want that.
Well,
okay.
They like them. They ask for them to this day.
Okay, so
you go to the place, I can't say the word.
So that's a fun snack for them.
well, I would say that's a fun snack for them, but they like it.
Okay, because I would have been like, Mom.
No, they like
I
it.
could see Gracie.
No, they
be
like chew
I'm not
candy,
having
like
that.
stuff like that. But so that they would do. They would always have grapes and cheese. That was always a snack, and they like it to this day.
Okay.
They have their little charcuterie board. They have a charcuterie board
This
in
is
there.
like advice for on-the-go moms. Like night before, let's do grapes and cheese. Let's do
The little drinkable yogurts are easy. Just throw the applesauce. You can throw that in there too. That's super easy.
Okay. And what about your high school kids? Because high school kids are always worried about their appearance.
Well, first off, high school kids are going to do what they want to do. Like, let's just be real.
Yeah. But we could just still give them some advice. I'm sure some of them are following a bunch of like exercise coaches online and trying to stay.
Yeah, it's it's all some of the same stuff though. It's like you can make like little salads, you can make sandwiches, and just add lots of vegetables to the sandwich, like cucumbers and lettuce and tomato and onion. If you're not afraid to add onion, peppers. You can make all kinds of sandwich with like really good vegetables.
Do you remember when Michelle Obama did the whole initiative to make school lunches better for kids and more healthy for kids? So she took sodas out of the machines, right? And I think she took away, was it candy or something, or chips or something out of the machines? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you could take away one thing out of a school lunch, what would it be?
Anything that has dye in it.
Okay.
That's what it would be. Or added sugar.
Okay. If you could put something in a school lunch, what would it be?
A green vegetable, a leafy green something.
Would they eat that?
I'm just saying, you're saying in a perfect world, like if I could add something, it would be
so that would just be like a salad,
like
a spinach
or
salad,
spinach, or I would add something like that, or some protein, because they probably don't get enough protein, the kiddos.
At school, do you volunteer?
I wish well, this is the way I volunteer because of my schedule. My volunteer is like I sent money in, or I dropped off the cookies and the muffins for the teacher appreciation week.
So what do you think about like the PTA? And
I honestly would love to be able to be a part of that. It just, there's no way that I can do it. So I feel bad when they like the little sign up genius comes out and they're like, hey, who can be here to, set the tables up or whatever. And it just doesn't fit into my schedule. So wherever I can help, it's usually me sending in money to buy something, or I'll drop off the muffins and the cookies.
I guess for me, it depends on the mothers. Like this is a true story. So at the school Mariah went to, the junior moms would have to decorate the locker room for the seniors that were leaving. And this is no lie. This is like a true story. I forgot because I wasn't at the meeting. Mariah's dad was at the meeting for the senior night. I wasn't at the meeting. So I guess at the meeting, she told him that the junior moms need to decorate the locker rooms for the senior girls that are leaving. He never told me. I didn't get that memo. Right? And then I wonder why this lady never talked to me again. Like, she never talked to me ever.
She just assumed that you chose not to be there.
Again. She didn't talk to me ever again. So finally, I guess they had decorated the locker room, and I go to senior night like, hey, like all happy. And she's like rolling her eyes.
They're looking at you like.
She's like, I'm like, girl, bye. Is something happen? Like, did something go on? So I will never forget this lady. So I went up to her, and at the time, my mom's husband had passed. So we had that to deal with. Her dad had never told me that I was supposed to even help decorate the locker room. I had no idea, right? So I'm walking up there, and generally this lady used to be like a cool mom with me. Like, she was like we didn't hang out or whatever, but her daughter played volleyball. My daughter played volleyball. We got along well. So she just kept being funky with me. So finally I just said, hey, is something going on? That did something happen? And she said, yes, you didn't help me decorate the locker room.
Well, I'm glad that she said it, though. At least you're not wondering.
Well, girl, what? You didn't help me decorate the locker room. Why didn't you come and talk to me about decorating the locker room? I had somebody pass. I didn't know that I was supposed to help you decorate the locker room. I thought you did a great job decorating the locker room. And I told her that, right? She was never my friend again for the locker room. And I don't even think Mariah, I don't know what happened between Mariah and her daughter. She never spoke to me again. She would walk past me at school like I had stole her purse. I'm like, girl, bye. So, if you are that mad about a locker room, right? I was still in shock. So after that, I didn't sign up to volunteer. I didn't put my name on a list. If I helped you, I helped you because I sincerely wanted to help you, right? I didn't fool with that after that. So I was just like,
I feel like she was just looking for a reason not to like you.
right, we
Because
just gonna
that's
make that
silly.
another story.
Because that's silly.
We're gonna make that another
Like,
story.
we're grown.
So what's your most memorable parent-teacher conference?
I don't really have a memorable one. I mean, thankfully they've all been pretty good. There was actually one parent-teacher conference where one of the teachers said that she thought my daughter had she wanted me to take her for psychological assessment because she thought she had like a learning disability. And this just kind of shows like how antiquated our school systems can be in some ways. But it turned out being more of like it's going to sound like it's way out there, but I called my best friend in California and she was like, it sounds like she needs vision therapy. And now vision therapy is more known now than it was back then, but that's literally what it was. So that's one that stays in my mind. And then I would say the challenge is going to private school because most private schools are predominantly white. And my daughter had...
This is Atlanta.
Well,
they used to be predominantly white.
But I mean, okay,
right,
so the ones that
right now in Atlanta,
the ones that the girls went to, there's a couple. There are a couple.
We have some sprinkle in there.
There's several here in Atlanta that are not predominantly white, but the one that my daughter was going to at the time was, and she had an incident with one of the girls not wanting to hold her hand. So basically, what happened is they were on. This is a girl that my daughter thought they were friends, and they went on a field trip. And she was probably in second grade at the time when this happened, so she was young. And the little girl said that she didn't want to hold her hand. She doesn't hold hands with brown people. And like I said, my daughter thought they were friends. And so thankfully, my daughter came home and told me about it, which is really important to have open conversations with your kids and let them know it's a safe space to have whatever happened in the day. Like, I think it's important for kids to know that they can talk to their parents without judgment, without them being afraid of a consequence, I guess. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject. So I called the teacher, and the teacher told me like what happened, and that we were going to have did I want to talk to the mom? And I was like, yeah, I want to talk to the mom. And I guess at that point, the head of the school had spoken to the mom, and I'm giving you guys a Cliff Notes version, obviously, but spoken to the mom, and the mom said that she has no idea how that would have happened, like her daughter had said something like that. And so when I talked to the mom, I was like, this is obviously home training. Like, this isn't something that she just picked up off of
Racism is a learned
TV.
behavior.
So, and then she tried to tell me a story about her brother or an uncle who watched White Men Can't Jump, and like, it was really random. Like, I don't even know what that had to do with it.
White men can't jump.
And so I said to her, listen, there's probably something really subtle that you've done or someone in your family has done to let your daughter know that her behavior is okay. So maybe, like, if you're walking down the street and you see a black man walking towards you or someone of color walking towards you, and you cross the street, or maybe you don't give them eye contact or you don't speak to them, those little subtle things that you do like that, you're giving those messages to your child, which is why she felt like she didn't have to hold my daughter's hand. So it's just,
we've my kids have experienced that in school. When Dee was at school at Marist, there was an incident in the bathroom where they had drawn a noose on the bathroom wall, and he came home. He called me and he told me, and I called the headmaster. I called the school, and I was like, that's unacceptable. We're not doing that here. And you would think that has stopped, but it's still here, and it's still very much alive. And we have to understand that it's just like we were saying with Carpool. When you're in a car with kids, you can't control what the conversation is. Right. We don't know what they're talking about. We don't know really what they believe in. We think we know people, but you don't live in somebody's house, so you don't know. But for me, in my house, we're taught to love everybody. Right. I don't condone the racism in my house. I don't condone that at all. Mariah had an issue like that. She had a teacher at one of the schools that she went to, and I'm not going to name the school. And every time Mariah went to school, this lady had an issue with something Mariah had on. I don't know if it was her earrings. I don't know if it was her shoes. It was one day, it was her coat.
Oh, right.
The designer Juicy was out, and Mariah's coat
yeah.
said Juicy, and she told me, she's like, she can't wear that coat to school. I'm like, girl, it's 20 degrees in Atlanta, and there's no uniform coat. She's wearing the coat to school. How about that? And Mariah and a little girl had gotten into it in the classroom. Now, Mariah had had it out with this little girl so many times. Like, right, I'm like, I'm going to talk to this lady. You know me, I bust up in the classroom. I'm like, hey, we're going to talk. She told my daughter that she had to take off her earrings. She was in elementary school. She was like, you need to take off your earrings. You cannot wear those. Mariah busts out crying, and she's like, my mommy told me I can't take off my earrings. I can't. The lady is like, oh, you're going to take off the earrings, or you're like going to the office. Let's just say Mariah didn't take those earrings off. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's just say she didn't. And I felt like at the time, the lady was targeting my daughter for everything she did or didn't do. And I don't think she was targeting Mariah because she thought Mariah was sweet. I think she was targeting Mariah because Mariah was an African-American little girl in a different income bracket. Mm-hmm. And so every single time she saw Mariah, she had something to say.
Yeah.
So needless to say, we left that school.
And that's obviously speaks to that woman's insecurities and her issues, and taking it out on a child, you know. Yeah. So people don't realize the little things, that little behaviors that they do that really impact children. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the things as a parent, like.
And I do love that with every school that we were at, I was hands-on enough that a teacher would say, hey, Mauri, if she saw me at a game or something, hey, Mauri, let's, Gracie didn't turn in her homework, or hey, Mauri, Mariah didn't do this, or hey, Mauri, can we do this? Or hey, Mauri, can we talk about it? And to be honest with you, I would go to some parent-teacher conferences when they were younger. When they were in high school, I wasn't sitting around to get to know the teacher, right? If you had an issue to talk to me about with my 15, 16, 17-year-old daughter, call me.
They don't even do parent-teacher conferences in high school.
Yeah, but they do meet the parent. So it's like a night, it's like a...
We do like open house.
Yeah, so you get to go walk and to do all their classes and stuff. I ain't gonna lie. After Mariah, I was like, I'm done doing that.
I got that in a couple weeks, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done doing that. I don't need to know all that. I don't need to, if you want to call me and talk to me about what somebody didn't do or somebody did do, give me a call. Call me up, talk to me, let me know what's happening. Like they called me one day at school and they were like, Mauri, Gracie's skirt is entirely too short. Gracie's 6'1". Until you make a skirt that fits a black girl's booty and her tall height, call me back. Was she going to take the hem out? Like, what are we doing here? Let's get a longer skirt. Like, call me about something serious, not the skirt. Like, I don't want to hear that.
So is it fair to say that back to school is a little bit of bummed and a little bit of booze? Bubbles? I said booze.
I think it's both.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah. But for single moms, back to school could be great because they could do daytime dating. Right? They could be going on dates in the daytime. They could be, meeting new people.
I don't know.
Would you be open to that?
I'm at work. I'm going to date anybody.
What about your lunch hour at work?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let's do one word of advice for moms with their kids going back to school. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate the fact that the kids are going to school. Celebrate the fact that you're here to see them going to school. Take a day for yourself. Relax. Exercise. Don't drink a bubbles yet because you got to pick them up. And then when they get home from that first day of school, have a bubbles with your girlfriend or your neighbor.
Yeah. My advice would be take a breath. It's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Because it can start to feel really overwhelming. And as a single mom, and I'm sure moms who are married feel this way too, is you want to be able to control everything that's happening. And why didn't something go this way that it should have gone this way? And you had this plan and now this got thrown into it. Now I got to take you here on Saturday when I thought Saturday was going to be, it's just like, take a breath and know it is going to be okay.
We're going to close the book.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Pickup Line.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch us.
and listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.